Hi, my name is Nishant and I'm one of the trainers here for SAS Studio. Now in this video we will talk about the bar charts. We'll learn how to create bar charts using the SAS Studio, referring one of the data sets that we have got on the system and so on. So that's the whole idea, that's the agenda of this video that we have got today. So I'm going to showcase how you're going to deal with this whole process. Now the process is, the very first thing that you need to do is you need to first identify the data that you want to work on, right? So that's the very first and foremost step that we need to follow. Now looking at that first stage of identifying the data, as you remember, we have already covered the proc SQL procedure in the previous videos. We've covered the CRUD process when you create, you read, you update, and you also delete the tables. So following the proc SQL procedure, what we will do is we will create one of the table from one of the data sets that we have already got, right? So that is the first part that we will get the understanding of, and then we will move on to understand the syntax which is used to form a bar chart. Right now, as you can see on my screen, I have this code right here. Now this whole code defines, it talks about the allocation of the data, or rather you can say identifying the data sets that we want to work on. Right now, if you look into the code now, I have given the proc SQL command over here, and with the help of the proc SQL command, I'm going to create a table which is called as cars1. Alright, so cars1 is the name of the table that I'm going to create. Now within the cars1 table, I'm going to select make, model, type, invoice, horsepower, length and weight of the car. Now all of these, you can say there are 7 different variables that I'm going to extract. So all these 7 different variables are actually coming from the SAS help cars dataset that we're going to refer over here. Now, as we already know, we have already covered in the previous videos, you know that SAS help.cars dataset is actually coming from one of the dataset which is already there in our libraries. Right now, from that dataset, we're going to refer to two make of the cars, or you can say 2 manufacturers of the car that we're going to deal with. We're going to deal with Audi and we're going to deal with the BMW. So these are the 2 manufacturers that we're going to deal with. Right now, out of these 2 manufacturers, we are going to work upon these 7 different variables, or rather these 7 different factors that we have got. Alright, so we're going to deal with Audi and BMW, and within Audi and BMW we're going to refer make, model, type, invoice, horsepower, length and weight of these 2 manufacturers. Right, so let's run this program and let's see what output that we get. This will give you the output of the data that we are going to create within that table, the cars1 table that we just talked about. Now when I ran that program, you can see I have the output data right over here. Now in this output data, if you look into this data, you can see I've got make, I've got model, I've got type, invoice, horsepower, and if I just move on, you'll be able to see the length and weight as well. Right, and as we discussed that we only going to refer 2 of the manufacturers over here, naming Audi and BMW. So you can see we only have got Audi and BMW right here. All of the information related to the model, related to the type, invoice and horsepower, everything that we actually stated in that code. Now as we already have the data with us, we have successfully identified the data that we want to work on, that we are going to deal with. Now it's the time that we jump on to the conclusion that we are going to build the bar charts out of that. Right, that's the whole idea of this video, to get the understanding of. All right, so for the creation of bar charts, the syntax that we follow involves the proc SG plot procedure. So you can just look into the the parameters over here in this code. So I've followed proc SG plot procedure. I have defined the data. Data is nothing but data is equals to work.cars1. That is the data set that I've identified over here. Now the variable length, or rather you can say the bar length, the V bar length is what we have defined, and the title of the whole bar chart that we're going to create will be the lengths of the cars, length of cars. Okay, and then we finally run it. Now if you look into this part, it says V bar, right? Now V bar is nothing, it's talking about the variable bar. Which variable are we going to refer over here? Now out of these 7 different variables, we're going to refer the length, which is right over here. That's why we have given as V bar length. So let's say if we want to refer on to any other integer value, let's say for example horsepower, you can put it as V bar horsepower. Or let's say if you want to work on the weight, you can put it as V bar weight, and so on. Now this syntax, or rather you can say with this code that I've given over here, this is going to give me a very standard bar chart. Now let me run this whole program and show you how would it look like. So I'm going to select this part and I'm going to do run. Now the moment I run this program, you can see I've got a very simple bar chart. Now if you look into this bar chart, you will see that I have got the length of the cars, right? Now that's the name of the bar chart that I've given you, length of the car, and then I've got the frequency, right? Now over here the frequency is not that relevant that the kind of data set we are working on. Instead, the length is something that we need to more focus on. So you can see I've got a various length, the minimum, the lower side of the length, and then I've got the higher side of the length, because in the code I have never defined that I want to start with 159 or I have to start with 204. So by default it has taken the lowest value, which is 159 in terms of length, and it has taken the highest value, which is 204 in length. Now between these numbers, between these figures, I have not specified the make of the car or anything else as such. That's the reason why it has just given me the length of the car, a very simple bar graph. So I'll get back to the code and I'll do a little bit of modification over here. So now let's say if I want to look into the stacked bar, so I'm going to change this code. I'll change it for the stacked bar. Okay, and you will see the difference what it will actually create. Okay, so I will come over here and I'm going to change this part of the code. Okay, now I'm talking about the variable V bar, which is variable bar length by group. Okay, so I'm going to stack this whole bar representation and we'll see how it looks like. Okay, and now over here you can see it comes as type. Now I need to remove this part and I just need to leave this as V bar length by group is equals to type, and I'm going to run the whole program. So I'll do F3. Now the moment I do F3, you can see I've got the output, and with this output you can see it is all now stacked, right? So it's grouped now. Now the grouping, if you want to understand more in detail, if you just need to scroll it a bit down. If you scroll it down a bit, you can see that all these legends talks about the group. Now this blue color talks about the sports. Now this maroon color talks about the sedan. This another blue color, in you can say the light blue color talks about the wagon, and the brown color talks about the SUV. Now this is one of the way of presenting it in the stacked form. Now there's one more way that we can present it, which is going to be in form of cluster. So we can present this data in form of clusters as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a very small change right over here, and we will form this as cluster. Okay, so just give me a minute. I'm going to take this code and I'm going to place it over here, and we will change it into the clusters now. Okay, now in this whole process, you can see only this part, the variable part, is changing. Rest everything remains the same, right? So I have given the proc, I'm still following the proc sgplot procedure onto my data that we have identified, and then we have given the variable bar as length by group, and again within that what we have done is we are now going to cluster it with the group display. Okay, now let's run this program and see what happens. So I'm going to do F3, and the moment I do F3, we have got this output which now talks about a clustered form. It's not going, it is not into a stacked bar, as you can see what you got in the previous output. This time it's clustered, and again the distribution looks like this. With every different color you have got the output right here. With blue you've got the blue bar, you've got maroon with the maroon as in sedan, then you've got the light blue with wagon, and then you've got the brown as in SUV. So this is how this whole data is presented. This is how you can see it is now presented in more of a clustered form and not in the stacked form that we did in the previous previous result. And the very first result that we got was a very simple presentation of the bar chart, as you can see. So these are the three major ways that you can always present your data in form of a bar, right? And as we already talked about the V bar part, so you can always increase the number of variables as well that you want to work on. You can either get onto just for length, you can swap it over with weight, the horsepower, or you can simultaneously use two different variables as well, or it depends, you can go with the three as well, based on the need of the analysis, or the kind with the different kind of data sets that you're dealing with. All right, so this is all about this bar chart presentation. I hope this would have been helpful for you to understand how you use SAS Studio for a bar chart presentation, how you can visualize the data for yourself, and it is really interesting to talk about. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you for listening in to me. Thank you once again. Thank you.